Throughout the 1950s, about 40 people were given acting trophies at the Academy Awards. Of those dozens of wins, which ones do I think were the best? In this latest video in my series Oscar Top 10, I'm going to choose the 10 best acting winners of the 1950s. Here we go. Number 10, Kim Hunter, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Kowalski is too busy making a pig of himself to think of anything else. Your face and your fingers are disgustingly greasy. Go wash up and then help me clear the table.
It always blows my mind when I remember A Streetcar Named Desire won 3 Academy Awards for acting, and the one it didn't win was Best Actor for Marlon Brando. Crazy, right? I mean, he lost to a great actor who's going to show up on this list in a few minutes, and you'll hear Brando's name again shortly, but it's still wild to me. He was the one in 1952 who didn't get the trophy. Someone who did was the fantastic Kim Hunter for her compelling and memorable supporting turn in this most extraordinary film.
I wish I were Kim Hunter tonight. I've been asked to pick up her award for her. I know if she were here tonight, she would say how wonderful, how grateful, and thank you very much.
Number 9, Ernest Borgnine, Marty.
I'm just a fat little man, a fat, ugly man.
You not ugly.
I'm ugly.
Marty.
Ma, leave me alone!
One of the most charming and delightful performances in a film of the 1950s is Ernest Borgnine as the relatable everyman Marty, one of the few of that decade's Best Picture winners that was not an expensive epic. This was a small film written by the amazing Paddy Chayefsky that took hold of the country and featured Borgnine in his most famous role, a middle-aged butcher who's given up on the idea of love but then falls for a teacher. It's a funny, emotional, remarkable performance.
I just want to thank my mother for giving me the idea of going in and doing this, getting into this wonderful profession.
Number 8, Susan Hayward, I Want to Live.
Chris, Ed Montgomery. Listen, give me a statement, I'll write your rank.
This might be the most obscure film on the list, but it's one absolutely worth seeing for the extraordinary lead performance by the amazing Susan Hayward as a prostitute who's sentenced to death for murder and does everything she can to plead her innocence. The film, directed by Robert Wise, just a few years before West Side Story and The Sound of Music, is a very entertaining watch, and Hayward gives a big and bold turn that commands your attention.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the Academy, for making me so very, very happy tonight.
Number 7, Alec Guinness, The Bridge on the River Kwai.
But if it's a matter of precise translation, I'm sure that can be arranged. You see, the code specifically states that the... Diverse in the ranks!
One of the great epic films of the 1950s is David Lean's masterful The Bridge on the River Kwai, which features beautiful cinematography and magnificent set pieces, and a simply wonderful lead performance from Alec Guinness. You know him as Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, of course, but if you've never seen The Bridge on the River Kwai from 1957, you are in for a treat. Guinness is the standout in a fantastic cast of actors who are all giving 100%.
And so tonight, to Alec Guinness, a truly great artist, many, many congratulations, and on your behalf, Alec, may I thank the Academy.
Number 6, Eva Marie Saint, On the Waterfront.
I never met anyone like you. There's not a spark of sentiment or romance or human kindness in your whole body.
My favorite supporting acting win of the 1950s is easily Eva Marie Saint for her delicate and beautiful work in Elia Kazan's On the Waterfront. She's in every way Marlon Brando's equal in the film, showing so many shades to her grieving character. Eva Marie Saint is still with us, nearly 70 years since she gave this performance, and it's still her best work on film. Her stirring turn in Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest, a close second. She's an incredible actress of the highest order.
I may have the baby right here.
Number 5, Audrey Hepburn, Roman Holiday.
I could do some of the things I've always wanted to.
Like what?
Oh, you can't imagine. I'd like to do just whatever I like, the whole day long.
You could argue Hepburn has been even better in films like Breakfast at Tiffany's and Wait Until Dark, but I love her Oscar win for her first starring role in a movie, Roman Holiday, opposite Gregory Peck. This is one of those star-making performances we rarely get anymore, someone coming out of nowhere to become a movie icon for the ages. She is funny and charming and gorgeous and absolutely mesmerizing in this film.
I want to say thank you to everybody. I'm truly, truly grateful and terribly happy.
Number 4, Humphrey Bogart, The African Queen.
Take the shaft down and haul it over to the workshop and forge it straight again. Now we can write to the makers for a new prop. They might even have one in stock, kind of how this boat's only 30 years old.
Yes, an Oscar win for Casablanca would have been great too, but I love that Humphrey Bogart won his Best Actor Academy Award for his thrilling, against-type turn as a Canadian riverboat captain in John Huston's The African Queen. His chemistry with the iconic Katharine Hepburn is infectious, and he gives his character Charlie so many shades of both comedy and drama. It is a splendid performance.
It's a very long way from the heart of the Belgian Congo to the stage of the Pantages Theater, and I'm very glad to say that it's a little nicer here than it was there.
Number 3, Joanne Woodward, The Three Faces of Eve.
What do you know about Mrs. White?
Oh, what about Jane?
Well, why Jane?
Why not?
What a spectacular performance this is. What a tour de force from the legendary Joanne Woodward. Her husband, Paul Newman, had to wait another 30 years to win his Oscar for The Color of Money, but she got to enjoy an early victory for her riveting turn as a woman suffering from multiple personality disorder. Now, some of the dramatic touches might have been handled more delicately if the film had come out later, like the 1960s or 1970s, but there's still a lot to admire in The Three Faces of Eve, most especially that central performance by Woodward.
I can only say I've been daydreaming about this since I was 9 years old. And thank you very much. And thanks most of all to Nunley for having more faith in me than I think anybody could have.
Number 2, Marlon Brando, On the Waterfront.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum.
Few actors have 2 all-timer Oscar wins, and one of them is Marlon Brando, who gave one of the most iconic performances in the 1970s in The Godfather, and who was simply magnetic in his lead performance in Elia Kazan's On the Waterfront, one of the greatest films of the 1950s. I had to watch this movie many times for an acting class I took in college, and I was bowled over by every choice Brando makes. He can be arrogant, sweet, confident, vulnerable. This is the kind of performance the Oscar was made to reward.
I don't think that ever in my life have so many people been so directly responsible for my being so very, very glad. It's a wonderful moment and a rare one, and I'm certainly indebted. Thank you.
Before we get to my top choice, here are the 5 runners-up. George Sanders, All About Eve. His voice alone is worthy of an Oscar, but his wonderful performance in All About Eve is easily my favorite supporting actor win of the 1950s. Charlton Heston, Ben-Hur. The man was never more commanding and endlessly watchable than he was in this 1959 epic. Carl Malden, A Streetcar Named Desire. Another great Best Supporting Actor win of the decade is this marvelously understated but memorable performance by Malden. Gary Cooper, High Noon. Here's another actor who won 2 well-deserved Oscars, first for Sergeant York in the 1940s, and then for the masterful western High Noon in the 1950s. This is another tremendous performance from Cooper and a long career of excellent work. And Judy Holliday, Born Yesterday. I throw this one in here to say, yes, I would have preferred Bette Davis to have won Best Actress that year for All About Eve, or, most especially, Gloria Swanson for Sunset Boulevard, my favorite performance ever in a movie, but Holliday is a delight as well in the entertaining 1950 comedy Born Yesterday. So, what's the best acting Oscar win of the 1950s? I didn't have to take long to make my choice. It's Vivien Leigh, of course, in the Best Actress category for A Streetcar Named Desire.
I stayed at a hotel called the Tarantula Arms.
Tarantula Arms?
Yes, a big spider. That's why I brought my victims. Yes, I have had many meetings with strangers.
Some performances are good, some are fantastic, and some are so astonishing that you never forget them. The images, the mannerisms, the voice, the glance of an eye, the look of fear or of love. Vivien Leigh is on another level in A Streetcar Named Desire as the disturbed Blanche Dubois who finds reality crumbling all around her. Yes, there was controversy at the time when Jessica Tandy, who originated the role on stage, was passed over for the film adaptation for the movie star Vivien Leigh, but separate yourself from that piece of history and you just can't imagine anyone else in the role. She eats and leaves no crumbs in one scene after another, the emotion, the pain, the quiet acceptance of her fate. Marlon Brando, who also gives a stunning star-making performance in the film, has those two amazing Oscar wins, and so does Vivien Leigh with her all-timer performances in 1939's Gone with the Wind and in 1951's A Streetcar Named Desire. Vivien Leigh in Elia Kazan's drama gives one of my favorite performances ever put on film, and it's my choice for the greatest acting Oscar win of the 1950s.
It's an honor and a thrill to accept this for you, Vivien. I hope you're listening in New York. We're all very excited about it. God bless you and congratulations. I know she would want to thank you if she were here herself.
Whoever you are, I've always depended on the kindness of strangers.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite acting Oscar wins from this decade? Is there anyone you think I left off the list? See you next time.